The Children's Annual by Alan Clark. This is a history and collector's guide. It's got 160 pages. It's in hardback, and the book came out in 1988. And it's just UK comics, all the UK annuals. So let's just go through it. Really, really good book. It's obviously got Dandy Beano. It's got Tiger Tim's annual, the Greyfriars Holiday annual. It's got tons and tons of information. It's got Victorian ones. It's got all the war ones and many, many more. So you can see there the contents. And the book also includes a lovely introduction. Then you can see a lovely image there. Also, it's got this, a Victorian annual, Tom Hood's comic annual. I have never seen that. I doubt if I will ever see a copy of that. But it was shortened simply to Hood's comic annual. I don't know how long it continued. But it's got a lot of information here, talking about all the various annuals. You've got the Aunt Judy's magazine, apparently. And also Ali Sloppy's, or Sloper, whatever it is, Christmas holidays. I would love that. That's a good, obviously, Christmas scene, a gay Christmas Eve, and you've obviously got all the festivities there. Alice Sloper's Christmas dinner. I mean, obviously, clearly they're enjoying themselves there, eating a vast amount of, doesn't look like they're going to be eating anything since the, going flying off the plate there. From Budgets to Bandwagon, a golden era. And these books, brilliant. British Boys Annual. Quite often find these ones, maybe not that one, but certainly these sort of volumes in various Oxfams down at the market. They do turn up. British Girls Annual, I've never seen a copy of that, but the big budget for boys, those sort of scouting ones. And also Collins Adventure Annual, and there's lots and lots of pictures all the way through this. Now also he's got here Lewis Wayne and his cats. Of course there was a film about that, wasn't there? And popular favourites are Greyfriars. Oh, of course, Billy Bunter, of course. There was... the great stories, and then there's the School Friends Annual as well, Schoolgirls Own Annual, loads of them, loads of great ones that can, I say, be found in various markets around the town and country. Also, Tiger Tim Annual, 1922, I love those. Used to go to my nan's and she had piles of these old books. I didn't realise sort of they probably were back in 1922, 1930s, that sort of time. They were certainly not recent ones. I guess lots of copies of these sort of things were just everywhere around the houses. They were just like looked at and put aside. And Rainbow Annual 1924. Again, some of these sort of things do turn up reasonably often. Holiday Annual 1920. This is for boys and girls. Another one, Schoolgirls Own. The Rainbow Annual. Mrs. Hippo's Annual. Love that one. 1926. Tiger Tim's Annual. Now, there's not a huge amount of colour in this. In fact, not that much at all. But you've got here Modern Boys Annual, Every Boy's Hobby Annual, probably full of lots and lots of practical advice. And it says here, in the days before television publications such as these were immensely popular. I guess they were. Obviously, they're doing boats there. And then you've got here Jane X. This was Radio Fun. The writer was actually G.M. Wilson, wife of the artist Roy Wilson, which I've got a book of Roy Wilson as well. Inspector Stanley, the man with 1,000 secrets. That sounds pretty good. Writing exclusively for Radio Fun. And some more lovely, lovely images here. Film Fun Annual. These are great. Always filled with like Lauren Hardy, Charlie Chaplin, all those sort of regular. And of course, the UK ones as well. The Triumph Annual as well. Butterfly Annual. Also Radio Fun. The Knockout Fun Annual as well. This was 1941. Obviously, during the wartime, you could actually see a soldier there. So clearly wartime. The Whiz Bang comics. And then we're into Lion. Now, Lion ones do often turn up in my local market. I've seen quite a few over the years, and this one especially, I had that one. Tiger Annual, 1959. There were good stories inside there. You got some more, obviously, schools, public schools, these sort of boarding play. They were just very popular stories. Wizard book for boys, and then we're into, of course, the classic Dandy Monster Comic, as it was called there, Monster Comic. Obviously not annual, but it was Monster Comic, 1942, 41, etc. And Dandy, you got there, Dandy again. I think I've got that one. 1947 copy. That one looks very, very familiar. And then on to Rover book for boys, the Hotspur book, the Wizard book for boys. And they were all filled with whole loads of adventure stories. You had them like in the jungles, you had various war ones, all those kind of things. Just lots and lots of great adventures. The Topper book, and also, of course, fun. Topper and Beezer you had there. Now, though obviously over time have changed, post-war publishers, and you got there the comic colour album. Now, some of these I'm not certain what was included. Often sometimes bits of stories that were very similar to the US ones, but never, I think, drawn with the finesse that the US ones would always create them with. I mean, obviously some probably great artists were in there, and they're always worth checking out to find some truly brilliant artwork. But you've got here All-Star Comic, obviously not the All-Star Comics in the US. And you've got other ones, science fiction would be in there. You've got the Schoolgirls Annual there, All-Star Annual. Again, I don't think that looks like a US one. Probably quite certain that is. Adventure Annual. Now, sometimes you might find the odd story, I guess. You've got here Swift Morgan, Zippo Daily, and Plastic Man. Now, I guess that Plastic Man, probably, yes, US reprints of Plastic Man and other heroes. So they were obviously from Quality Comics there, and also probably other ones as well turned up. Beryl the Peril, always remember those. Love those when I was a kid. And Dan Dare's Space Annual, of course, we're into Dan Dare and Robin Annual. Of course, they were related with the Girl Annual as well. Loads of them. You had Eagle, Girl, Swift, and Robin. And they were filled with lots of great little things. But then we got the Mickey Mouse Annual, as well as, of course, other Disney ones. Now, this one, Dean and Son, I think I've got the 1931. I'm going to do a run through of that one day. I really must, because it's one of those, probably my oldest annual. I think it's about 1931 version, 1930. Not certain. People will say, no, that's not the earliest volume. I'm quite certain it's not. However, this one, Superman Annual. I love those ones. Often filled with a real mix of different stories. So you would have sometimes like Aquaman, it says here, Congo Bill. Now these ones, like Congo Bill, never really particularly been reprinted. So it's really quite often good to pick up these annuals. So you can find like Detective Chimp and those sort of, or Rex the Wonder Dog. And they would have like Superboy Annual. There was also, of course, a Batman Annual. And then, of course, Marvel Comics got into it as well. Before that, we did, of course, have all the Wham, Fantastic, POW. I love those. TV21, all those annuals, just brilliant. But Batman Annual, Adventures of the Cape Crusader, of course, the TV series was on, or certainly was still continuing on, certain. Also, Fantastic Four, Amazing Spider-Man, and Incredible Hulk, etc. They brought out, of course, the Mighty World of Marvel. There was also, just before it, the annual, Marvel Annual. I love that one. Weirdly, it had a story, I think it was Conan in that, which baffled me since Conan took forever to appear later. Very odd mix of stuff. But Bugs Bunny Cartoon Annual, this one's from 1981. TV Comic Annual, I love those. TV Comic ones, they would, of course, have had, I think Doctor Who was in some of them. There was certainly a whole range of different characters. Obviously, there was Tom and Jerry, of course. They were great. Back in the 60s, picked up lots of those. Then we jumped back for some weird reason here, and we've gone to Wilfred's 1924 Annual, and also 1923, and also this one, Pop Annual. Now that was a weird one. Sophisticated, too sophisticated for children, but the annual was often read by the whole family. I guess that was, and the one I've got, it's very good. Teddy's Tales and Jolly Jack's Annual, all great stuff. And then Garth, we're going into, of course, ones that Garth Contents there, Annual 1976. Unfortunately, I haven't got a copy of that. Buster Annual as well, IPC Annuals, and there were loads of them. Shiver and Shake, I love those ones. Core, that was always great. Then there was Whoopee, Monster Fun, Cheeky, Jackpot, Wow, School Fun, Oink, and Nipper. Can't say I ever bought any of Oink, but there was loads of them. And it's got here the first editions. Apparently Core, 1972, Knockout, 1973, etc. And then we've got the Biggles, and also it includes a little bit, obviously, Whizzer and Chips Holiday Special. I love those holiday specials. They were brilliant. I've got loads of those. Well, fair amount. I think I've done a video on those. Just great. Loved good old holiday special. Certainly would pour through them during the summer. Would read them over and over again. Unfortunately, I don't think they ever released a Marvel one in the same way. They did later, but certainly in the early days, I do not recall a Marvel summer special. Which is a pity. I think they should have done that. However, also, it's got a price guide. Now, it doesn't include everything, so it's not every single annual. Now, there is an annual book, and I think I've reviewed that somewhere, a guide to all of the annuals. But, of course, there's loads more annuals all the time. This one's got the Beano book, so you've got here 1940 to present day. Wow! It says here 400 to 700. I suspect that price has changed a bit. Also, you've got Chums, Core, you've got Crackers Annual, you've got the Dandy Monster one, again 1939, it says 400 to 700. Also, it's got lots of things like the Topper, but it doesn't include the Marvel ones, and I don't think it includes the POW or the Fantastic one either, which is a pity. since I love those ones. The back, you've got an index, so it's really good. You've got lots of information there you can check out. And it's got here 16 full colour pages of rare and popular covers, 150 years of children's annuals, collector's price guide to 100 annuals, also all-time favourites from Playbox, Chick's Own and Beezer and 2000 AD. Those sort of things. Okay, we've also got Dan Dare, Ali Sloper, Billy Bunter, Pop, etc. So this book, I just love it. It's just a great book. Unfortunately, my copy's a bit torn. Now, this was from an estate sale. When I saw it, as soon as I saw it, I thought, you know what, this book is just great. I love a sort of lovely sort of price guide and history of children's annuals. Really good. £5, I think that was a good buy. So, originally it cost £16.95, which I think is quite expensive. Unclipped. Always love the fact that everyone always asks, is it unclipped? Yes, it's unclipped. However, slightly badly damaged. So, have you found this of interest? Do you think must check out book? I'm certain books this is available, readily available online, probably on Amazon, eBay, etc. So, are you going to check this out? Have you got any interest in this? Also, have you got many annuals from obviously the 60s and 70s and 80s, or of course earlier as well? Do you love collecting annuals? I've got a few. I wouldn't say I've got a vast amount. Over the years, I've trimmed the annuals. I've gone through. I've had lots of the Jerry Anderson ones. I've had the Doctor Who ones. Love the Doctor Who ones, the early Patrick Troughton, William Hartnell, all those sort of ones. John Pertwee, of course. So I've gone through quite a few annuals over the years. A like or dislike, always appreciated. Bye.